What's up everybody, welcome to my channel. Today I'm gonna continue working on the 81 Toyota pickup. So last time I dropped the engine in and then I pulled it out again. Then I dropped this one in because this is the one I'm gonna use to finish the swap. So I finished my brackets, my motor mount brackets, they're all done. I think I'm gonna powder coat them, but not right now because I need them to hold the motor. I also bolted on the transmission, but the Crossmember is not gonna work. I have to modify that. And I also have to replace the input shaft on the transmission. Before I modify the Crossmember, I want to replace that input shaft. So I'm going to show you guys the problem with the input shaft. Let me go underneath the truck and show you guys. Okay, so as you guys are able to see, the input shaft is not long enough. So it needs to be about an inch longer. I'm going to remove the transmission and I'm going to have them replace the input shaft. I think they have longer ones. Hopefully they do. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the transmission, take it to the transmission shop, and hopefully they're able to replace it. Okay, so I got the transmission back. All they did was replace the input shaft, so this one's about an inch longer. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw the truck on this lift. I wanted to use this one, but I'm still working on that Lexus. I'm almost done. I just gotta do the harness, but I still need the lift. So I'm gonna move these cars, then I'm gonna throw the truck on the lift. I'm gonna install the transmission, finish the Crossmember, and then I'll see what else I have to do. There's still a lot of work, but we're gonna get there. I finally got the truck on the lift, so I'm happy because I'm gonna be able to do a bunch of stuff now. The transmission is ready to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and install the transmission and the transfer case, and hopefully everything's gonna work no problem. I just finished installing the transmission and the transfer case, so I'm gonna show you guys the shaft now. So as you can see, that's how it's supposed to be. So now it's long enough. So I'm gonna continue doing the Crossmember. So I'm gonna go ahead and do my Crossmember. I think I'm gonna use the same bolting location on the chassis, and I'm just gonna go underneath the transfer case and to the other side. And yeah, that should be it. Then I'm gonna try to figure out the shifter, but that's pretty much it. So everything should work. I'm still gonna double check everything, make sure everything's gonna clear, but I mean, it shouldn't be a big deal from now on. I'm gonna start doing the bracket, but I still have a couple of things to do. I gotta clean the threads on the chassis for the bolts where I'm gonna bolt it on. So like I said before, I'm gonna use the same location as the old Crossmember. I don't wanna start drilling holes and then I'm gonna have to cut these off. I might as well just use what I have already. Another thing I gotta do before I finish the bracket, I gotta make sure that this is center. As of right now, it's not center. I'm not gonna worry about it because I'm gonna start doing my bracket here. And then once I'm ready to bolt it on, then I'll worry about making sure that it's centered to the tunnel. And also I want to make sure I'm as straight as possible to the differential. I don't think I'm going to use this differential, but as of right now, I don't know yet. So I'm going to assume I am. So I need to know how wide I need the bracket. And I think I'll be okay with like a 3-inch bracket. So pretty much it's going to bolt on right here and then right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go straight to the bottom and then I'm gonna go up. So it's gonna be like an angle bracket, and then I'm just gonna connect from here to here. From here, I'm gonna go underneath the yoke and I'm gonna connect to the chassis. So I'm gonna start by doing this bracket right here. Once I finish this bracket, I'm gonna clean the threads on the chassis. Then I'm just gonna connect everything together. It should be simple. I'm gonna be using this material. So this one is about a 1/4 inch. You don't need it that thick, but in my case, since I'm gonna do a solid mount, I always like to use 1/4 inch material. This one's about 3 inches long. So, I mean, it's gonna work perfect. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna cut a couple of pieces, but first I gotta measure how long I need them, and then I'm just gonna drill a couple of holes. I got my mill over here. This makes everything a lot easier. Then all I gotta do is just weld everything together. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start cutting some pieces. So I'm gonna cut about 2.5. I'm gonna need one piece to be 2.5, and the other piece, it's gonna be about, I'm just gonna do like 5 inches, just to be safe. I'm gonna go ahead and cut my 2 pieces. Right here is gonna be my 2.5, and this is gonna be my 5 inch. I'm gonna go ahead and cut them. There's one piece. and there's my second piece. So now I'm gonna make sure they're long enough, and I'm gonna start drilling some holes. All right, so I got my 2-inch piece right here, and this is gonna go pretty much right here. And apparently it looks okay. It's gonna fit no problem. I'm gonna go ahead and grab my 5-inch, and I'm gonna see if it's gonna work no problem as well. So this one is gonna work no problem as well. The only thing is that I'm gonna have to probably do a little angle. I'm gonna have to bend it just a little bit because it's not flush with the transmission. So I'm gonna find out what angle I need, and then I'm just gonna bend this a little bit. I got my angle finder, so pretty much you just set it wherever you wanna find the angle. And this is flexible. I gotta use both hands, but let me try to do it. So there it is. So it's gonna help me find the angle I need. And apparently I'm gonna need like 20 degrees. So you gotta look at the reading inside. You can't really see it, but it's a 20. So it's 20 degrees that I gotta bend the bracket. I use my press to bend the bracket. So I'm gonna drill a couple of holes, then I'm gonna weld them together. After that, I'm gonna figure out how I'm gonna connect my bracket to the chassis. Shouldn't be a big deal. Most likely I'm gonna do another set of brackets on the chassis, and then I'm just gonna use pipe to connect them together. I'm gonna go ahead and use a piece of cardboard just to get an idea of where I have to drill the holes. And I already have an idea of where I kind of have to drill the holes. I'm gonna drill the holes a little bit bigger just so I can have some play. Then I'm just gonna weld the two pieces together, and that should be it. I already finished one of the brackets, so I drilled the holes a little bit bigger, that way it has play. And I also had to grind an angle right here so it will clear the transmission. I'm gonna go ahead and drill the holes on the second piece. So it's gonna go somewhere right here. I'm gonna go ahead and I already marked the holes where they're gonna go. So I'm gonna go ahead and drill the holes. Then I'm just gonna bolt them together, and I'm gonna go ahead and weld them together after. I finished drilling the holes on my second piece. I'm gonna go ahead and put it on and see how it fits. Okay, so there it is. It's not perfect, but it lines up. So I'm gonna go ahead and weld it together. Then I'm gonna start doing the ends, and I'm just gonna connect everything together. I'm gonna go probably from here. I'm gonna go under, and then I'm just gonna connect it right here. Or I might connect it right in the middle. And then from the middle, I'm gonna go back to the other end. I'm gonna go ahead and clean the threads before I do the bracket, because some of the bolts, they're rusted and they're stripped. Like this one's really rusted and stripped. And I'm gonna go ahead and put new bolts, but I don't wanna put new bolts and damage them. These ones, I can actually replace them if I can clean them. But the ones inside the chassis, I can't do anything about it. So I'm gonna try my best to clean them with a tap. Hopefully I'm able to clean them and bring them back to life. I'm gonna go ahead and do the same on the other side, but first I'm gonna do this side. I was able to clean all of them. The inner ones, the ones on the chassis, they were the worst. There was a lot of flakes coming out of the thread. Luckily I was able to clean them no problem. But I mean, you guys are able to see. I don't know if you're able to see, but I mean, there's a lot of metal coming out. So they were really messed up. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna take care of the other side. I'll show you guys right now. So pretty much I was able to save this side. I almost went in all the way because I really wanted to clean them. So there was a lot of metal that I cleaned. They should be fine now. I mean, this one is fine, this bolt is fine, so I'm gonna try it out. Yeah, I'm able to bolt it on no problem. Before I couldn't do this, I would try to put it on and it just wouldn't go in. So I'm glad I was able to save them. I'm gonna go ahead and take care of the other side. Then I'm gonna show you guys how I'm gonna do my brackets. Okay, I'm on the other side, and on this side I got lucky because all of them, I already kind of did all of them, but honestly they were pretty clean. So I'm able to actually turn it by hand. And I'm gonna go ahead and take it off. I'm gonna show you guys real quick. Takes a minute because I was gonna go all the way in, but I don't really have to. But as you can see, the tap is pretty clean. So there's almost no debris, there's no flakes. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave this as is, and I'm gonna take measurements. I'm gonna start doing my bracket. So I'm gonna start doing the brackets. I'm gonna measure how wide it is. So I'm gonna go ahead and just take a quick measurement, and it's about 4 inches. So I'm gonna go ahead and see if I have something this wide. I should, because I remember I bought 2, 3, and 4 inches. I'm gonna go ahead and check real quick. Okay, so this is 4 inches wide. I'm gonna cut 2 pieces, but before I do, I'm gonna get the other cross member, and I'm just gonna cut 2 exact pieces, and I'm gonna drill some holes. It should be pretty simple. Okay, so I got my cross member right here, and if I just cut a piece this wide and this long, I don't think the material I have is gonna be long enough to compensate for this angle right here. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm just gonna measure the distance between this hole and this hole. And I think whenever I cut the bracket, I'm just gonna move it in an angle, because regardless, I mean, I got an angle right here, so it doesn't have to be straight. So instead of the bracket being straight, it's gonna be in an angle. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm just gonna measure the distance between this hole and this hole. And I'm not gonna care about the distance so much, but I'm just gonna estimate how much material I need so that it could be a decent bracket. And I mean, I could do 6 3/4. I'm gonna measure the same distance on this side, and I could get away with 6 3/4 as well. So I'm gonna do the same on the other side. I mean, it should measure the same length. I'm gonna double check it right now just to make sure. But I'm gonna cut 2 pieces, 6 inches 3/4. And I'm gonna drill some holes, and all I have to do after is weld all 3 pieces together, and I should be done. I got my 2 pieces right here, so all I gotta do is drill some holes. I'm gonna make sure that they fit. So I mean, they're gonna sit somewhere like this in an angle, and I mean, they should be good enough. So all I'm gonna do now is, I'm gonna put it on top of the cross member. I'm gonna trace the circles. I'm gonna take it to the mill and drill some holes. So I'm ready to start drilling my holes. I have a mess, as you guys can see. I'll clean it later. Right now I just want to get this done. This is a little bit bigger than 1/2 inch. I want to say it's somewhere around 9/16, maybe a little bit bigger. But I'm gonna start drilling the holes, and then this is excess right here. So I'm gonna cut all the excess material. But first I want to drill those holes. Then I'm gonna see if these holes line up to the other side. If they do, I'm gonna put the 2 pieces together. I'm gonna do the same exact location for the holes on the other bracket. If not, then I'll just do the other one separately. So I'm gonna go ahead and start drilling those holes. Then I'm gonna test fit it to see if everything fits, no problem. I'm pretty much done drilling the holes on the bracket. So by the looks of it, it lines up pretty good. And the good thing about this bracket is that all I gotta do is just flip it around, and I can also use it for this side. So let me line it up real quick. So it's not perfectly aligned right now, but the holes line up pretty decent. So all I'm gonna do next, I'm gonna grab the other bracket, and I'm gonna do the exact same holes, and then I'll probably clean the brackets after. I'm getting pretty close to finish this cross member, but I still gotta do a lot of cutting and welding, and you guys will see why. Here I have both of my brackets. I even label them. This is the left, and it's just gonna sit underneath the chassis. So this one's ready to go, and I even kind of cut the angles I wanted so it could look a little bit better. I mean, right now they look kind of ugly, but once I weld it all together and powder coat everything, it's gonna look a lot better. So I'm gonna go ahead. This one's kind of ready to go, and I'm just gonna cut the excess pieces. I'm gonna clean it up, and then I'm just gonna put them underneath the truck, make sure everything bolts on, no problem. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna finish cleaning this one up. Then I'm gonna bolt them on the truck. All right, so I pretty much got both of my brackets ready. So both of them, they have the angles I want. They're similar to the angles on the original cross member. I just want the brackets to look nicer once they're both underneath. So, here's the other one. I'm still gonna go ahead and clean them up a little bit more. I mean, I just did them with a grinder, but I could still clean them up a lot better. So that's what I'm gonna go ahead and do right now. I'm gonna clean them up. I'm gonna bolt them on the truck, and I'm gonna start finishing my cross member. But before I do, I bought this bender specifically to do the cross member on the truck, but I'm not gonna be able to use it right now because I don't have the experience and I have to set it up. And this one is not hydraulic, it's manual. And I bought a hydraulic pump that I want to install so that it could be a lot easier. I honestly want to put wheels on it, and if I put wheels, I cannot use it mechanically because you gotta pull it to start bending, and if I pull it with wheels, it's not gonna work. So that's why I bought a hydraulic pump for it. It's kind of dark, you can't really see, but instead of bending the tube and going underneath, what I'm gonna do is I want to do pie cuts, and I'm gonna weld them all together. I think it's gonna look nice and it's gonna be strong enough. So that's what I want to do. The only thing is that it's time consuming and I don't want to include it on this video. I'm gonna continue working on the truck, but I'm gonna stop the video here. So last year I went to a show for Father's Day in Beverly Hills, and they had some really nice cars. I'm gonna share a couple of clips with you guys. So that's gonna be it for this video, but I'm gonna do my best to upload another video for next week. So that's gonna be it for now. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. If you guys have any questions or any suggestions, please let me know. I like to hear from you guys. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.
Off of the street onto the sidewalk.